everyone, welcome back to Rachel and Bella Crafts. Rachel here. So today we're looking at the second part of our ephemera folder tutorial. Those of you that will have seen the last video, so if you haven't seen the last video, you might want to go back and watch that one first, because in the first video we made this section of our ephemera folder. You know, we've used the vellum printouts and a little bit of vintage fabric there. We used some vintage fabric on the inside, and we've then obviously made pockets even, and tuck spots. So now we're going to make some signatures to go inside to hold further ephemera. Before I go on, I just want to remind you all about the collaboration that's coming up, like any of us had forgotten. But no, there were a couple of elements from that obviously for you guys to be mindful of. So if you haven't yet watched this video, go watch the launch video, because don't forget you're meant to be guessing the guests. So there'll be lots of clues popping up this week, so you need to make sure that you're listening and you're watching and you're looking, because if you email to me all of the answers of the people that you think I've mentioned who may be in the collaboration, you may win a kit. So there's a new kit coming out to go with the botanical one. I haven't released it yet, so you'll be the first to get it. Okay, so moving on very quickly, what you will need for this part of the tutorial now today is your ephemera folder, some 12 by 12 cardstock, some vellum, and then I've got some pages from the kit cut out ready, so you may want something of your choice to decorate with. So I'm just going to move that out there a second. I've also got out some Edith Holden sheets, should we need them, because I was kind of toying with a different idea, but now I've gone off piece somewhere else. It's not unusual for me. My brain does tend to hop about all over the place. So what I'm currently doing is I am making, I'm cutting. I'm not making anything at all. I'm cutting the 12 by 12 down to a size that will fit into my signatures. So you can see there, you know, it's not poking at the top or bottom, and it's not coming up over the edge. I'm going to be putting several sheets of this in, so obviously every time I put one in, the next one inside is going to get a little bit shorter, because otherwise it's going to be creeping out to the top. But sorry, my point was that I was going to make, depending on the size of your ephemera folder, you need to cut these sheets of cardstock basically to the same size of that fold there, all right? Otherwise they'll be sticking out. So that's what I'm doing a second, and I'm just gonna kind of then pick a few. So what I've done, I've gone through my cardstock, so I'm trying to use it the 12 by 12. I basically want my cupboard for some other storage, and I've just gone through and pulled out where I've got doubles of things, and where perhaps, you know, the pattern on them is not overly objectionable, or because I'm not going to be showing a lot of it, because I am going to collage over the top before adding the pockets in. But yeah, just something that's kind of vaguely along the theme. So obviously for me, I'm working with a botanical theme here. You know, you may not be watching this at this time, you may be watching at a later date, and you may want to use it for a different theme. So like I say, I'm just going for cardstock that is fitting into my theme, and I'm just going to cut them all now the same shape. Now you might think, what am I doing? Well, what I tend to do when I'm doing a lot of the same kind of cut is I use one as a template, and then pop that in there on top of the other cardstock, rather than constantly measuring and folding. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake you guys then, I do apologise. But at least that way then, you know that they're all going to turn out the same size. So I have got 4 there. I think we're doing another 2, and then we'll see where that takes us then, because that should be almost enough. I can't quite decide whether to do 3 or 4 sheets per signature. I'm going to do 2 signatures. I think I might go for 4 actually. So we'll have a look now and see if there's another sheet there that will match up with this one. Oh, sorry, again, shaking you around. Goodness, you'll walk around vertical at the end of this video, aren't you? I do hope everybody's well. It's funny because we're kind of like all just starting to get on with everything, and you know, where I work, there's not many of us there, and I don't often see a lot of them because we all tend to be in and out on different days. But I just must live in a bubble of my own, because I've kind of, in my head, have already kind of, you know, moved on and not really thinking much about, you know, the whole pandemic thing, and I hadn't really taken on board that things have started to pick up a little bit again now. So I do just hope that you're all keeping well and keeping safe. And if you're not, do try. Right, so now I have an issue because I don't have two here that's matching. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, hang on. Do I? Oh, actually, they're not far off, are they? I just want to put them next to each other. That might be quite interesting. So I'm going to be poking out from behind the, you know, the collage piece. But I just wanted kind of like neutrally tones. But that's all right. It goes with the theme. Goes with the theme. Right, let's get those out of the way. Let's cut this last one now. I'll try and do it without causing an avalanche. And that is directional. Is that one directional? No, it's just giving me a headache trying to work out the pattern. Ha! Do you know what? I had a most horrendous headache in work today. I don't know whether I was a bit dehydrated. It's been the most glorious day here. The sun's been out. Oh, it's lovely. I actually forced myself out of the office today because you know it's like you get your head down, you try and work, and then so much going on, day's gone. Very often I forget about lunch, and our young fundraising officer was in today. She works on Tuesday and Wednesday with me, and fair play to her, she's very good because she'd be like, no, come on, you need to get out, go and have some fresh air. So I did walk up to town with her, and when I did my bit of shopping for Mother's Day, and I walked back through the park because we are actually located right next to our local park. Oh, I'll keep that because I need to cut the edges, don't I? And I do forget, so I did have a nice stroll through the park, and I even took my scarf off. I didn't have a woolly scarf on. I had a I wear like a chiffony scarf thing, you know, and I actually had two wrapped around my neck because it can get a bit cold inside, and it was getting that warm. I actually took my scarf off and put it in my bag, so that's a good sign, isn't it? That's a sign that spring is on its way. Summer's round the corner, because we really could do with just do with something positive now, couldn't we? We are actually in the throes of organising our first event of the year now. We've got our spring fair on April 6th, so my fundraising officer and myself have been trying to get that sorted. We've where we're located, my offices, we actually have a museum next door, which is quite fascinating. So it's the local history museum for the area, you know. It's all about the local history of where we live and everything. And when I first started working there, I kind of, I don't know why, but I had some impression that there was a bit of a connection between us and them, or I don't know, in my mind I'd kind of already put them with us for some reason, but they are we're in old buildings, we are in old listed buildings, but they're in like the old coach house buildings further around the back, because we're like tacked onto the end of a row of a very old big property, which is actually now a secondary school, so it's quite a historical area where we're based. Which is great, but it's not good because you don't stay very warm because they're all buildings. Anyway, I digress. So I kind of already had in my head that we were kind of working perhaps with the museum, or that there was a connection there with staff or something. And then obviously when I went in and asked them, you know, like, do you ever do any partnership work with the museum? Do we do any partnership work with anybody else in the town? And they were like, no, not really. And I was like, right, so why are we not working with the museum? They're literally next door. It's a no-brainer. So, you know, it's a completely different kind of thing to what we do, which means you're reaching a wider demographic of people then, aren't you? Because obviously one of the issues we've got with our charity is that nobody knows they're there. I didn't know they were there. I used to work around the corner and walked past it hundreds of times, and I'd never even noticed the building. So, you know, that was one of the first things I said in my interview was, are you working on marketing? Because nobody knows you exist, which is not great when you're, you know, there to provide services to people that are vulnerable. So, you know, everybody needs to know we're there. So I'm kind of really like trying to encourage them all with this message of we need to be loud. We need to be, you know, promoting ourselves and the services we provide, and so that the people that do need them know to come to us and ask, you know. So yeah, no, so anyway, we sorted out this kind of, I came up with this idea. I said, well, let's have a fete. Let's see if the museum want to get involved. You see, don't just organise collaborations on YouTube. Notice a theme here? Yeah, I like working with other people. It's good. It's good, and it helps us grow, doesn't it? So anyway, we went around and had a meeting with this lovely lady who's now just taken over as the curator for the museum. I love that name. museum curator. It sounds really, I don't know, just mystical and important, but she's lovely. She's a really lovely lady. And she's, like I say, she's just new now to the role. And she was really keen to partner up with us. So they've got lots of new ideas. They're obviously struggling for lack of footfall. We do live in quite a dead end of the town. So yeah, so that's been really exciting. The only thing that we're having difficulty with now is where we would normally rely on local businesses and shops and things to kind of give us a hand with some prizes or things like that, you know, or, you know, old stock or something they tend to be getting rid of. They would usually throw this, you know, in the direction of a charity or something. We've not had a great, we haven't had any good feedback really, you know. Like I say, my fundraising officer, she went out around the town last Friday and usual things, popped into shop. She's very charming, love her. She's got a marketing degree, but she's oh so sweet. And I don't know how anyone manages to say no to her, because she's just so lovely and says everything so politely, you know. You couldn't possibly be offended by anything she'd say. And she literally came home with nothing. She was very disappointed. And they're all like, no, you know, we've done our bit for charity this year, and, you know, sorry, we can't help. And so it's a bit like, oh, my goodness. So I'm not quite sure what's happened since we've all come out of lockdown, but charitableness is not there at the minute, so I'm not quite sure. So we're just trying to scratch our heads a bit at the minute. So we've got this, put a post out on social media today, and I was like, right, come on, what can we do? We need to do some more stores. Let's do a tombola. Let's get everybody to empty out their bottom drawer. Because we all have those Christmas presents we don't use, don't we? We all have those smelly sets from Auntie or Uncle So-and-so's or your nan, and it's not really your kind of scent or what have you. And it just goes in the bottom of the wardrobe then, doesn't it? So better off, give it away to a charity. You can use it for a good cause. So yeah, we put a post out on our social medias then this afternoon. Fair play to the staff, they all messaged back straight away. Yeah, we'll have a delve and see what we can find tonight in the house. And then just got in through the front door, and so we've got this new ambassador. Well, he's our ambassador. He's our only ambassador actually. We've just kind of signed with, and he's actually a racing car driver, and he is part of Team Brit. His name is Andy Tucker. So if you do see his socials, you know, give him a like and a share. But he races for the disability team for Great Britain. They have just won one of their races now on the weekend, and their debut races for the season. But fair play to him, he dropped me a message and said, oh, right, I can see your post, we can send up some prizes. So he's offered now some tickets to attend one of the races at Silverstone, which is like the place to go and watch car racing or motor racing. I'm not very good on the terminology of it. And he's going to go and get us some caps and some other merchandise and stuff so we can use them for a raffle. So I thought that was really kind of him. But we just got to get through to everybody else now. So I don't know, just, you know, send some good wishes our way, and hopefully we'll have a better luck tomorrow, I think. Perhaps people will be in a better mood on Wednesday, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's funny because we've been doing like different, you know, we've been on like different webinars and training courses and things recently to kind of, you know, get some tips on fundraising and how we do stuff like that now. And you can have all the training you want, but if people are not feeling receptive to it, it's not going to get you anywhere really, is it? So I don't know, perhaps we need to adjust our approach. Right, okay, back to the make. So what I've done here now, as you can see, I cut 4 sheets per signature, so they are now going to form the centre section of our ephemera folder. They are the reason I put this huge spine in. So in case anybody was wondering why the giant spine, it's because of these in here. So there's going to be lots of room for this to grow. But obviously, if it's going to be storing ephemera, it needs a lot of space, doesn't it? So I've made that mistake before. I wasn't going to do that again. So we won't need to be fiddling with that for a bit, because that's going to be like the last point. The next thing that we're going to do now is I'm going to just decide now what cardstock I'm going to scrapbook on. Not scrapbook, I'm not scrapbooking at all. What am I doing? Collaging. What am I scrapbooking? I told you my head's in the shed today. I'm going to use some of these sheets here that I had cut out ready, some of the images from our kit. I particularly like this one. This is actually my favourite page, I think. I may have said it already. And then I'm going to add then some vellum pockets, but I will come back to you before I do that. So I'm just going to kind of have a quick go now, do a little bit of collaging, and then we'll see what we come up with. So I do apologize, I'm standing to cut. Oh my goodness, rest my weary bones. Right. Oh, I had a job to walk down the stairs this morning. You'll laugh when I tell you why. My sister texted me a couple of weeks ago and asked if I knew of any local Zumba classes. She wanted to join a class. She said, I feel like I need to do something normal. She said, every day, she's like Groundhog Day, every day just feels the same. And I was like, yeah, I'm with you on that actually. I said to her, well, actually, I know there's a couple of Zumba classes around where we live. So I said, I'll get you the times and stuff. So I'd been doing Zumba in the mornings. I've been getting up at like silly o'clock, 6:30 in the morning to have time to do some exercise before going to work. I probably could only manage that twice a week because that just was knackering me out then. And then when she said about that, I was like, oh, I'll come with you. So we've been going down to the Zumba class now. I think it was her second one yesterday. It was my third because I go on a Wednesday as well now, which is in the hall just below where I live here. It's great. It's great fun. And the girl that runs the class, she's I think she's Filipino. I think she's got beautiful long dark hair, really, really, really long, you know. But she has the biggest smile right throughout. Do you know what I mean? And I very often stand at the back, but I find myself, I can't help but smile back at her. You know, it's that kind of, you know, you give each other that thing, don't you? It bounces off people in each other then. But no, she's lovely, and I find myself stood there grinning like a fool to myself, jumping about, probably getting it all wrong, but it doesn't matter. I'm there and I'm having a go, aren't I? So yeah, that's been fun. But oh my word, I got up this morning. I'll be honest, couldn't lose it then. I did have a very, very late night last night because I was up trying to finish my YouTube video, the last installment, and I was up trying to upload that at like till about 2:30 in the morning, which is not very wise really when I suppose I got to get up at 6:45 for work. So that might be why I've had a headache today. You know that feeling you get when you're like, oh my gosh, I just feel like the Grinch today. I just like Scrooge is just, you know, it's like inside out, and I just felt like Mr. Angry today. Inside, not angry, I just felt irritable, like you do when you're tired, I suppose, like a kid who haven't had their nap. We had this guy coming to visit the charity today because I mean, you know, we were trying to find a building to open a shop, but we haven't had much success with that. We did put in an offer on one, but somebody beat us to it. The property market here at the moment is absolutely crazy, and the rental market is even worse. So we were trying to find a shop to let, and it's just not happening at the minute. So we're just kind of going to just wait for the right property to come along. But we're having problems with our current office's property. We're in a listed building, as I said, and it's old and got lots of repairs and things need doing to it. So my CEO had asked for the people from somebody, you know, from our kind of landlord, just have a local authority, to come and have a chat with us about, you know, could they offer us any help? You know, we've had the roof leaking, we had to put a new boiler in, that was done yesterday. You know, lots of big jobs there that need doing that we obviously don't have the money to do. And, you know, just wanted a bit of help. We wanted to find out if we could perhaps sublet parts of it because we don't fill anywhere near half of it. And this guy came in today, and like I say, I must have already been just a little bit crabby. It's really hard to be crabby on a Tuesday because, as I said, my fundraising officer is in on a Tuesday with me. She's 23. She is literally like a tin of beans. She's full of life. She's always cheerful, always smiling. And she was in today, so obviously it kind of pulls me along then, you know, you kind of, you know, I wouldn't want to be grouchy with her or anything like that, so I'm going to, you know, you make an effort. But yeah, this guy came in and he was so rude. Oh my goodness, I just couldn't hide my I'm not impressed face at all. I was trying really hard, but I just, you know, when you just can't readjust your face and you think to yourself, I know now, I can feel that what I'm thinking is written all over my face here, but I can't do anything about it. And the CEO, she came and knocked on my office door, and she was like, oh, you know, this gentleman's here, blah, blah, blah. We've had a look at the building, and, you know, he's offered a few suggestions. You want to come in and have a chat with him? So I walked out of my room and was, like, stood in the, like, outer office by my office. And the first thing that kind of irritated me was that I'm very long-sighted, so if you stand too close to me, I can't see. I wear glasses, obviously, but I don't like people up in my personal space. I like people at a distance so I can focus on them, see them, not smell them. You know, I just like this area to be just me, you know. Well, he didn't move back, and he was quite a big chap, and so that annoyed me. So instantly, you know, your arms fold across, and I was kind of frowning a bit, thinking, come on, mate, move out the way, let me out the door. And he went waffling on, and he was just being really negative and obstructive, and I'm not got much time or patience with people that are really negative. I do my best, and, you know, I'll keep on trying, and I'll keep on kind of, you know, trying to offer the flip side, you know. I'm very much a glass half full kind of person. That's why when I'm tired and feeling grouchy, I just say nothing, because I don't like to be overly negative. That's not who I am. But he was really negative, and he was just putting obstacles in front of us, and he was going on and on about, you know, the lease we got in the building. And I'm not women's lib or anything like that, but the one thing that really irritates me, my parents, my dad in particular, but my parents brought me up to be strong, independent, and confident and capable. Most importantly, you know, I spent a lot of time with my dad growing up, and, you know, we lived on a farm, and not a working farm, but that kind of a thing. We were in an old building, always out helping, and he taught me lots of life skills, and I know lots of stuff, and I know lots of stuff mainly because of the stuff that my dad taught me. And then, of course, you don't get to the grand old age of 40 without a bit of life experience, do you? This guy was being really condescending and talking down to myself and the CEO, and she was kind of like stood there looking, and I don't know what happened, but my mouth was just open, and before I knew it, there were words coming out. And normally I'd have just stood there and nodded and yeah, whatever, taking no notice. But if I did, I didn't, you know, I wasn't rude, but I wasn't having it. And I stood up to him, and I was like, actually, no, that's quite incorrect. And yeah, we do know how to do that. And he was basically saying that we couldn't sublet our property, and that the lease didn't say that. And I said, well, actually, the lease does say we can sublet, and it just says we need to run it by, you know, yourselves for you to approve it. So, you know, he was trying to say to us, you know, that he was going to do this big magnanimous thing, and yeah, we'll try and make some adjustments. And I'm like, you don't need to make adjustments, the line is in the lease. And he was going on about different things with I don't know how it works in other countries, but here you pay, so it used to be called poll tax years ago, they call it council tax now, or business rates. And he was saying, oh, you know, we'll have to be re-registered with the planning for you know, the rates listing and one thing and another. And I was like, no, it won't. We would be letting out as an office. It's currently an office. What are you talking about? I felt like saying to him, you know, I was like, do you know what you're on about? And you just kind of like looking at somebody, you just think, like, are you for real or what? Do they let you out at certain times of the week or something? Are they, I couldn't get my head around it. And like I said, I was fighting to not be rude, but oh my gosh. And I kept a very civil tongue, as my grandmother would say. You keep a civil tongue. I was very civil, but firm, and he did back down, and he did agree with me then. He was like, oh, well, you seem to know more about this than I do. And I thought, well, yeah, I do, but okay. So he finally then went to leave, and as he was going out the door, then his parting shot was that he was going to have a COVID test because he was going in for an operation on Friday. Now, wait for it, to have a cataract removed, because a couple of months ago, he'd had an operation for a detached retina, nearly lost his sight. You know, just one of those moments when your jaw just hits the floor and you're like, seriously, you've stood here for the last 25 minutes berating my boss, making it you can't do anything for us as a charity, no give at all, you know, no support, no nothing, considering he's a local authority. And now you're telling me that you yourself experience sight loss, and you don't walk into a charity for sight loss and think, oh, these guys really should have my support. I was just gobsmacked, I really was. So we were like, yep, okay, well, hope it goes well, off you go, kind of thing. And he did then, thankfully, finally leave. At which point I then turned around to my boss, and everything kind of fell off my face, and I was just like, seriously, that man was so rude. She was like, I know. He kind of like told us that like we couldn't leave the building. We were tied in for 100 years. All this absolute nonsense. And I was like, please, please don't take any notice of me. It's all wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So she was just laughing at me then because I don't think I've had an outburst at work yet. But I was definitely provoked to have one today. So yeah, that was kind of like where my day went. Okay, so enough waffle. Let's speed this up a bit now. So what I've just been doing whilst waffling on was choosing my papers to cover these pieces of cardstock. Obviously you could do this with a brown craft card, anything you could do, but I would recommend using cardstock because it will give your ephemera folder a little bit more stability. But I'm not going to stick anything down just yet. The reason being is that I'm going to now take the vellum and measure the pockets, and then I'm going to sew my pockets onto my these bits before sticking them down, because if I don't do that beforehand and I stick them down, I'm then going to be sewing through the cardstock into the back of the other one, and that won't do at all. So that's why I kind of left them all loose. So I'm going to just take them one at a time now and very quickly measure my pockets. So I will probably speed this bit up because I'm going to be concentrating a sec. That was a long shift. I felt like our good friend, the Queen of Mass Mix this afternoon, getting all these done, but we've got this. So we should now have enough of each, collage page, as I'm going to call it, that is now got pockets stitched onto them in one shape or another. So I've done some with single pockets for larger items. I've done some with 2 pockets, and then I've done one with 3 and one with some small ones. So the first thing we're going to do now is, the next thing, not the first thing, the next thing we're going to do now is start to stick them into the signatures. So I'm going to leave the front cover as it is, because I actually quite like that. I think it goes quite nicely with the theme. And I'm going to start with this one here. So just move that out of the way. I'm simply going to alternate, mix and match, because what I'll probably end up doing is, labeling these into sections then for what goes where and what they're best for. It's quite nice there. So let's start gluing. dokie. So signatures are done. They're all dry. And I have put the eyelets into my spine. So I'm now going to take some elastic and thread this through. And I'm going to do it in a way that it doesn't show on the outer side. So the tie will be on the inside. I'm just going to make sure I do this the right way around now. So I think I start at the top. It was one of those things, you know, when you just do something by accident once and then it's like, God, how did I do that? And that's where I think you go out through the bottom then. And then back in through the bottom. There we go. I took that out there and brought it back in here. Yeah, I think that's what I did actually. So you can finish that off then, you can add some, well, we'll do that next week. We'll do our kind of decoraty bits next week. Next week, what am I on about next week? In the next video, not next week, don't panic, I won't be making you wait that long. I'm just going to put the signatures in now, and then, yes, the next video then we will, you know, embellish and finish everything off. Oh, do you know, I had a moment of panic then. I thought I'd put the signatures in upside down. No. Phew. Right, hopefully now this will thread through here without much drama. And it will fit. Yay. Fabulous. Now, in hindsight, because it's always good to learn, we learn by making mistakes, don't we? So, one thing I would do differently next time is I would ensure that my spine is a little longer, because when you're using eyelets and elastic, ideally you want the eyelet and the elastic to sit lower and higher than the actual signature. But I didn't have room in this case because I measured my signature to the spine, if that makes sense, and didn't leave myself much room. But it looks okay. It's just, you've got to be gentle then because you don't want it rubbing on there. Worst comes to worst, I do actually have a little bit of space. I could trim them down a little bit if I wanted to, but oh, I'm sorry, shall I just span around? Is that better? I could trim them down a little bit if it became an issue, but I'm not overly worried. I quite like that. I like that. I like that pink. I was panicking because I wanted brown elastic, but I quite like the pink on there actually. I think it brings out the colour of the plants. So there we go, guys. That's the second stage of our ephemera folder. So you should now have two fully pocketed signatures. I'll just have a quick flick through of this one now. That is ready then to be embellished and stuffed full of all your cut ephemera, fussy cut even. And then in the next video we will do some tabs for the pages. We will label them up, we will embellish the journal, and yeah, just a few little extra bits and pieces that I'd like to add to it. But overall I am really pleased with how this has turned out, and it, you know, the cardstock even I feel has gone well with the papers. So yeah, that's a good video's work, we shall say, because I never know whether I'm in morning, evening, afternoon, tomorrow, today, do I? Next week? There we go. You only watch me to get confused, don't you? There we are, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Don't forget, you need to be listening out to Guess the Guests. There was a clue in today's video and something that I said. Get your list together and then email it all to me by the 30th for the chance to win a prize. I don't think I've got anything else I've got to tell you. No, other than have a great day. Be careful, take care of each other, stay safe, and thank you for joining me. I'll see you all very soon. Bye now.